Hey guys, so welcome to July. Amazing. Let's probably read a little bit less than June. There was a lot of books, look, a lot of DNFs, but I think I need to spend a bit more time on other hobbies, not just reading, but we'll see. It is what it is. I don't really apply rules to myself. I just look at the data afterwards and think, if I read that many books and I probably didn't really do much else besides, what else can I enrich my life with? Besides only reading, even though reading is fantastic and will always remain numero uno. So I've already read some books. Let me tell you what I have read. The first book that I read is Mall Goth by Kate Leth, and the colorist is Diana Sousa, and Robin Crank is the letterer. I gave this a 4.75 stars. It only got knocked down a quarter because of one of the plot elements in it, which I'll get to in a second. Basically, this was me as a teen. It turns out that I was not a special teen goth. I was like all the other teen goths out there. I had to lull because the moment that she opened up her locker, she's a bisexual teen goth, there was a little tiny picture and immediately I'm like, that's Angelina Jolie. I know that photo because I had it. I had it along with everything else because after Monica Bellucci, Angelina Jolie was my next absolute obsession. So I had to laugh. My hawk eyes were like, I know who that is. And then it was confirmed later on. So I'm going to start by saying that I could absolutely relate to a lot of the aspects in this, except at one point. This is what causes the 0.25 off. So this is a graphic novel, beautiful illustrations, loved the illustration style, about a girl with her mum. Dad's not in the picture. She loves to go to the mall. She's just changed to a new school. She's trying to make friends, trying to be herself. She received a lot of backlash at her previous school about her queer identity. So she's just trying to start fresh and find a place for herself. With this one though, there is a point where a pedo teacher is introduced. And look, I don't generally vocalize while I'm reading a book most of the time. I was on the couch, kids were watching TV, and I think I said out loud like, no, or gross. I don't remember which it was. It was either no or gross. But my eldest kid was like, Mummy, what's going on? What are you reading? What's happening? I'm like, nothing. Don't worry about it. Something's just going on that's really gross. And what it was is the teacher who was being, was kind of felt like he was grooming the teen, the 15-year-old, gives her a book. And that book is Lolita. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, no, I know where this is going to go. Like there were hints of it there. And I thought, I'm a bit uncomfy with how this teacher is relating to the student. And then as soon as he's like, here's the book for you. Tell me your thoughts. And then he gets on, was it AIM, Instant Messenger, whatever it was. So he's chatting to his students outside of hours. And he's like asking us, so what do you think of the book? And it just, I was like, why? Before that, I was loving it, but it kind of went a bit darker with that plot line. So that's why it's not a 5 stars for me. There's a lot of angst and teenage drama and sort of love quadrangles and all that sort of thing going on. But there's a lot of parts about it that I really loved and liked. So 4.75 stars. If there's more in this sort of series, I will read them. But yeah, I just hated the creepy teacher part of it. The next book that I picked up is The Holistic Guide to Gut Health by Dr. Mark Stengler. So this isn't just about leaky gut syndrome or SIBO or IBS or any of those things. It's also about other conditions like autoimmune conditions, skin conditions, heart conditions, just everything. Because at the end of the day, your gut health does actually affect your entire body's health. Your microbiome and the second brain of your body is very critical to your well-being. So I picked this up. I had diagnosed leaky gut syndrome years and years ago. It also led to me developing all my autoimmune conditions. God love that. And at the time, I first started with Western treatments. They did not work, and then end up finding holistic doctors. So holistic doctors here are integrative doctors, and they're both Western GPs, and they also practice holistic things, whether that's Ayurveda or TCM or nutrition-based treatments. They sort of combine everything. And the protocol that we went on for my leaky gut was pretty much identical to the one in this, and it did cure my leaky gut syndrome. And then the effect of my gut lining no longer being so permeable was that my autoimmune conditions also went to remission, in that the antibodies and everything went so low that I was not actually having symptoms of the conditions. So as soon as I saw what they were recommending and knowing that had worked for me, I kind of love this. I've given it 5 stars because, like I said, I did learn some other natural sort of remedies for other things that I do have issues with and I need to get on. Like they've even got eczema, bone health, adrenal dysfunction. I'd say in terms of the leaky gut protocol, it's what you would imagine. So this author in particular recommends a gluten-free Mediterranean diet. They talk about supplements that can help. So things that are, think slimy stuff like aloe vera, slippery elm bark, licorice root, L-glutamine, that kind of thing, which supplements help. Prebiotics, probiotics, things that you can add in, lifestyle changes, so fasting, deep breathing. It's very well-rounded in terms of the recommendations. So if you're looking for something that isn't just prescription medication or surgeries to sort of support your healing, I would recommend this. So there's also recipes in the back, which is great. Some of them are real basic. Some of them's like roasted chicken, olive oil, salt and lemon. I'm like, okay, bruh. Okay. Is that a real full-on recipe? But like there's tons. I'll show you how much is recipes. So these are the recipes based on, like I said, a gluten-free Mediterranean diet. So a decent amount. What's that? 234, 187. But I do want to look more at some of the other issues and what they recommend to supplement. So some of these also include actual supplements. So they might recommend L-theanine or 5-HTP or adaptogens like ashwagandha. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Easy to read too, simple. Like it starts off telling you, teaching you about the like actual structure of the gut. So it gives you a basic foundation level 2 of sort of how the body works before progressing into treatments. They also do have a few real life stories about people with their conditions and what they did to improve them. I don't really care for those, but they're in there too if you like seeing real world cases. So that was a 5 stars for me. So what I'm currently reading is The Moon Tear by M.E. Royce. It could also be Tear. I don't know. I'm going to guess Tear. This one is an arc from NetGalley, and this is about a woman who cannot use her magic. So she's been told, you cannot use your magic, you'll bring the end of the world. So she's waiting until her, what birthday? I don't know, some 20-something birthday. So she's an elf where she can actually let go of her magic and just live magicless for the rest of her life. She's trying to make it to that point, but all of this stuff happens and she's got to decide what to do. There are people that covet her for this power, but she knows that anything she touches, she will destroy. So she's sort of caught in this bit of a conundrum. I haven't started reading it yet. I'll let you know how it goes. Besides that, I do have this book that I was meant to read. This is a middle grade book, The Summer of June by Jamie Sumner, that I was meant to read for my June TBR, but just didn't get around to it. I will have a browse. Like if it's too young, I'll stop. I just sort of want to see what the book's kind of like, decide whether or not I want my daughter to read it. So there's that one. And the only other book I think I didn't read from my June TBR was Beautiful Chaos, which is about motherhood, and that's because the person who has it has kept it and it is overdue. So it was meant to be returned in time for me to read it. That's why I put it on my TBR, but unfortunately that person has gone over. So I'm sure I will get it probably this week or the next week because they won't be able to borrow any other books until they return it. So eventually I would assume they will return it and then I will have it. But also I'm going to sort of try and prioritize the books that I put on my TBR and read them first so that I don't rush at the end to make sure I've read them, because I would like to make sure that I read the books that I said I was going to. So I think after I read The Moon Tear, I might read up the poetry book Aphrodite Made Me Do It, because I think it'll be a quick, easy read. So that's what I've got picked out so far. I am going to go out today to brunch and then come home. Or I might go to the library to get some picture books for Indy because she wants some picture books. We've been listening to books on audio. She loves Pete the Cat the most because they also show pictures. So she can sort of just look at all the pictures whilst the narrator is talking. So that's her favorite, most immersive experience. But we've also been listening and / reading Harry Potter. She just constantly bemoans the fact that they're too long. They are too long, mummy. Like, I get it, babes. But yes, she wants some picture books because she just loves to sit there while I read them aloud and then we chat about them. So yeah, that's what's on the agenda for today. Hey guys, so I'm back for lunch. Lunch was quite delicious. And then I popped in next door to the supermarket that's there. There's Nova. And I got these. So these are pretty much vegan versions of Ferrero Rochers. So if you like Ferrero Rochers, you'll probably love these. They're my favorite snack. Hey, darling. Hello. Where are you going? Where are you trying to go? Hey. Nova doesn't normally come for pats, do you, darling? You normally go to Valentine. Does this look better white or with the purple on the inside? Maybe that would have been more of a look than the white. Let me know what you think. White, blue. I'll just leave it for blue for now. So I read and finished The Moon Tear, which was an arc. I pushed through it because it's an arc and I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. I think this book has definitely been heavily influenced by J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. You have a character named Isildur, for instance. The Elvish language in this, very reminiscent of Quenya, which is the language that J.R.R. Tolkien created for his books. And it's trying to be a high fantasy like Lord of the Rings. I couldn't not see the similarities in there. However, this book was so info dumpy. The exposition was incredibly heavy-handed, and yet I was confused. I didn't really understand what was going on. There was just too much information it just felt like I was drowning in an overload of information, characters, things, just everything was going on all at the same time, and the author was trying to do everything. I think just pack as much as they could into this novel, which just left it feeling like an overstacked sandwich that you can't possibly put in your mouth. You're like, how do I eat this? So I didn't know how to read this. The characters, I just didn't connect to anyone in this at all, and I didn't really care what was going on. And even though high stakes things were happening, my adrenaline wasn't raised. I didn't care even if the main character survived. You know, it was like that kind of situation. But I read it towards the end, and the end just felt like such a cop-out to me. Like the last line, I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. So we suspend all our disbelief for everything else and go along with the fantastical element, and then that's going to happen to that character when that never happens to any character in any fantasy book, really. But I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So I'm giving it a 2 stars. It wasn't for me. Like I said, I found it too much to bite off, and I could not get into it whatsoever. And it's one of those ones where I will completely forget everything about it because it was just too nondescript. It didn't have one thing that it was like focusing on and doing really well. It's like, let's just have every single flavor in this pie, and then what happens is you don't even know what the pie tastes like. It's like, I don't even know how to describe the pie to you. It was just full of stuff, and the flavor of the pie is everything. So that's how I felt about this particular one. Like I said, I just don't think I'm the right reader for this, but yeah, it's definitely giving Lord of the Rings, but not as expertly executed. It needed a lot of fat trimmed way off, and a better way of giving information without just info dumping and having everyone just talk and tell you all of the information. Also, the Elvish in there was not translated either, so there was a lot of passages in that where you just don't know what's being said. Oh, there's Sylvie. Oh, it's so cute. They're in the background having a little kiss. Oh. Wouldn't it be nice if cats could actually talk to each other besides just sniffs and body language? I have started reading Aphrodite Made Me Do It, which is a book of poetry, and I'm really enjoying this. So it's, I would say, featuring a lot of Greek mythology and tarot cards in it. There's lots of really cute illustrations that I'm enjoying, and I'm just liking the style, and I'm liking the narrative of it. And I think the cover's kind of cool too. So far so good. I've literally only read a couple of pages, but I've been absolutely delighted thus far. So I'm interested to see how it wraps up. So I'll touch base with you guys once I have read some more. Okay guys, so I have read some more books. So let's start with, I should have held it up, The Summer of June by Jamie Sumner. So this is a middle grade book, and this is about a 13-year-old who is struggling with anxiety and sort of self-harming behaviors that come from the anxiety. I thought it was well written. It was very easy to read. It had a great pace. The main character, June, is lovely. I do feel though, however, from my personal experience, that when you talk about anxiety behaviors, that can sometimes lead to other people who have anxiety to adopt those behaviors. I happened with my daughter. My daughter has her own, not just, it's not autistic stims, it's the ones that she specifically uses when she's anxious, and they tend to be body, harming. And she was talking about it, and I said, yes, I know. I did this when I was a teen, and then she ended up switching to doing what I do. And because of that, the behaviors that this character is exhibiting, I think, could be triggering for people or kids with anxiety. So just keep that in mind. In the book, June's mother is a librarian and works in a library, and the villain in this book was a librarian, and it was that typical over-the-top stereotype of an old, cranky, mean librarian. And I don't love that. I feel like, I'm a bit biased because obviously I was a former librarian, but I feel like the librarians of today aren't like that anymore. I don't know how other libraries work in other places, but the main objective of our library is to cater not only our book selection, but our programs to the wants and needs of the patrons. So we are very much patron-led. Whatever our community wants, we provide. So if that's arts and crafts for kids, we put on a whole bunch of arts and crafts for kids programs. If that's violent graphic novels, then we stock violent graphic novels. So it is just completely patron-led. So I don't think librarians are all, this is how my library is run and we don't do that and there's no fun here. And she literally goes on a Godzilla rampage. Destroying little seedlings that the children's librarian had done as an activity with kids that were growing. She just literally just tears them apart in front of all the screaming, crying children. And I'm just like, oh, it is this. It's a bit much. So yeah, I didn't love the negative portrayal of librarians, and especially because, look, libraries are one of the only places that you can go in society where you don't have to spend any money. So it's not just to read books, it's for all resources. So people who don't have the internet otherwise can get access to the internet there. They can get help from the librarians. So a lot of the time we were helping people learn how to use their iPads or photocopy things or email certain places. It's not just about reading books. So I would hate if people were put off going to the library based on this portrayal of libraries. There was also a little bit of mention of her mum just going from boyfriend to boyfriend, with the issue of that being one of the boyfriends was physically abusive to June. And so that I was hoping that they would obviously address that, but there was no addressing that. It just seems the mum likes to not be single and doesn't really involve June in discussing like, hey, I'm thinking about dating this person and let's do like a scaffolded approach to you meeting them. No, she just sort of comes home and there's a man in her house. So I didn't like that either, like the mum was coming off as a bit iffy in that respect. So yeah, look, I'll probably give it 4 stars because I just enjoyed it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to pass this on to my daughter because I didn't really like I said, the mum's history with men and the way it affects her daughter, the anxiety behaviors that I mentioned in this, which are quite severe. 1 second, babe. And the negative portrayal of libraries. But yeah, I still enjoyed it, like I said, as an adult, but not sure I'll give it to my tween. The next book I picked up was Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trista Matias. This is part of the Myth and Magic series, and this, I guess, is meant to be a book of poetry, but it feels more like a look at someone's journal / Pinterest board. It's very mixed media. I loved all of the images and types of media that were put in this. This one sort of centers around Aphrodite. He's not my favorite deity, but I would say the main themes in this were also queerness, abuse, and self-acceptance. I have given this a 4.5 stars. I really, really loved too that the chapters were sort of begun with pictures of tarot cards, and then it's followed by a title, and then sort of like a collection of images and writing that revolves around that subject. My favorite was the part that starts with the Ace of Wands. So this one was called The Poet Airs Her Grievances. There was a collection of all the things that she fears, which was quite palpable. And I'll just read you a little bit of it. So it says, when I say I'm not looking for love, what I mean is I don't like losing the part of myself that disappears when I date other people. I don't know how to let another person touch me anymore. I'm okay with my body when I'm the only one looking at it. I don't know enough about healing. I had to step back for a while to get to know myself again, but now I don't know how to step forward. I worry it's safer to sleep alone. How can I possibly love someone right when I was raised with the worst examples? Still, I drew the tarot cards. I made the rose water. I sat out under the moon. I put on my grandmother's perfume. I crushed petals in the palm of my hand. I split a pomegranate in half and let the seeds spill onto my dresser. I pressed some to my tongue and I sat the rest out of her. So yeah, there was just a whole bunch of poems in that area that I like the most. I also love the ones that were about Pandora, Eve, and Medusa. So there was quite a bit of Greek mythology in here and sort of feminist leanings. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was entertaining. And it was very easy to read and get through despite the heavier subject matter. I went on Goodreads and found out that this author does have a Persephone made me do it, and Persephone is my bitch. So I am going to see if I can get it today because I just really love to read that one. The issue I had of this was a ebook though, so it wasn't in color, and I'm bummed because I'm thinking obviously in color it would be an even more fabulous experience. So hopefully they have a physical copy. I doubt it. They don't really stock a lot of physical copies of poetry because it's not a very popular genre in the libraries here. I might have a look at the bookstore today though, when I go, to see if they stock it. Once again, I doubt it. Like there's not many poetry books stocked at one time. It's normally whatever's new. And I think the Persephone one was done in 2021, so it's not new. But I'll have a browse. That is definitely something hopefully I will read if I can find it. Hello, Sylvie. That was a very big meow. That was a very big meow, Sylvie. I think besides that, the next book I'm going to pick up is Annihilation by, I know the name, like it's something Vandermeer.
My name is Jeff.
Jeff Vandermeer. So I have just seen so many people bring it up over and over again. It's something that like, if a book is continually in my periphery, I will end up checking it out, and it was a part of obviously my TBR now selection, so I thought why not. It's a shorter story. I am going to go in with zero expectations though, because it might not be for me, it might not be to my tastes, but I'll give it a go, and at least then I can see what other people are talking about when they talk about Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. So I think that will be the other book, definitely the book that I read next. But I am now going to Westfield to take my daughter and her friend out shopping because we couldn't do it last week, and then she's got a birthday party in the evening. I might buy myself something at the shopping mall. I don't know. I'm not a very normally impulse purchaser. I like to go home and research and sit on it for a bit and see if it's something I really want. But that's all that's on the agenda today, so I'll see you when I return. Okay, I'm back. I'm back from the shopping trip. I bought a few little things. So mostly I bought some lingerie because everything was on sale today. So I got this one. This is in a soft blue with matching knickers. And then this one, which is in a sort of sage green. So these are the bras I wear if I know that the bra is going to be showing. And like the blue one would be perfect for this, so this situation doesn't happen. So that's what I got from the lingerie store. And then I went into Mecca and I got some rose eye gel things that I put under my eyes before I go on dates, so I look a bit more refreshed and not like a zombie. I also got the NARS matte liquid lipstick in American Woman. So I do like this one. It has a lot of staying power, and I find these the best for dates because I don't end up with the line of, lipstick left over. And the Mecca beauty box at the moment, I got a Tatcha rice milk cleanser and the Tatcha dewy cream, which I'm very excited about because I need a new moisturizer. So this was in the beauty loop box. And that was it. I got my hair done, which I don't mind, but I just feel like it's a bit nothing. You know, it's bouncy though, so I don't mind the bounce. It's just, woo. I was looking for Aphrodite. Persephone made me do it. It's not in the stores physically, so I will have to order that online because my library doesn't have it at all. They've only got Aphrodite and the Artemis one, not the Persephone one. So, and I really, really would like to check that out. So I'm going to order that in. So I'm going to, yeah, start with Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer today. Hello guys, I don't remember what I have talked about, what I haven't. Hopefully I'm not repeating myself. If I am, obviously, I'll delete that footage and you will never see it. None the wiser. So I did read Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. This is the first book in the Southern Reach series. I did give it a 3.25. So basically you've got a bunch of people that go into the wild to examine something, and every time shit goes wrong. People are killed, people don't return, they come back effed up, they die within a matter of months. Just a lot of strange things. And then you've got I think I said the wrong thing. I think I said last time the 11th expedition, but it's not. It's a 12th expedition. 12th expedition of people going into the book. I can't tell you much about what happens because it gives it away, but this book for me felt very similar to Our Wives Under the Sea. It's one of those wonderfully written, but so ambiguous, so incredibly ambiguous. If you need answers, if you want to understand what is really happening and a strong plot, this is not for you, which is also why it's for me. I found that for me, look, there are some cases where ambiguity is fine. Like for instance, I Who Have Never Known Men, that ending, you don't get all of the answers at all. And yes, it frustrates the kind of me. That's why that book wasn't a 5 stars. It was a 4.75. But everything else about it was fantastic enough for me to accept that and just take off a quarter point. But with this one, like, yes, it has an atmospheric quality. There's a lot of creepiness going on, but the inconclusiveness, I couldn't deal with it. I needed more than what we got in this one. And the writing was a bit too, what's the word? I don't know. I can't think of the right adjective, but the main character, I didn't like her, and I understand her motives and that going in, but everything just, I don't know, nothing made sense to me. It was a bit weird and not in a fun way. And I just felt frustrated by all of the characters' choices, but then you don't understand if obviously they're in total control of their choices anymore or not. You know, it's one of those books, it's like, is what's real, what isn't, what is the character's own personal motivations, what is an external forces coercing their behaviors. Yeah, obviously there's violence in here, and there's a lot of like slime and fungi spores situation going on, but this one wasn't for me. I can see why people really enjoy it, but yeah, I did end up reading some people's reviews of the second and third one especially, to see, are you given answers? And no. So I was like, there's no way. So I would push through a series to not get definitive answers. Excuse all the rashes. I've been scratching myself and my skin rashes when I scratch. So yeah, this one was a 3.25. Would I try other books from this author? Possibly, but not if they're ambiguous. Only if you're given clear answers and you understand what is happening. I don't really love super enigmatic, mysterious books. It drives my brain insane. I need to know just tell me what the right answer is.
You want answers! I want the truth!
What is the ending? What's going on? Don't leave it up to me to decide. I don't like that. That's my whole life. My whole life is an unknown. With books, I want the known. So yeah, that was Annihilation. And then I got this book, so I did have to purchase it. So this is Persephone Made Me Do It by Trista Mattia. So it says, look, it's Nikita Gill. So if you like Nikita Gill, you'll probably like this. If you like Amanda Lovelace, you'll probably like this. The book itself has this very rough texture. It's almost like a very mild sandpaper. I don't love it, but it's interesting. It's a sensory experience, but I'm glad I got it because this does have full color imagery. So I'm just going to show you some of the inside. I gave this another 4.5. So here we've got her version of the tarot cards. So all of her tarot cards are drawn in a different way. So it's got just a whole bunch of mixed media. So here we've got a page on Persephone, so a collage style art. We got some drawings. We've got a death card here. So I love, it's full glossy pages too, full color, beautiful quality. I love this stuff. This stuff is fun for me. Like, I don't know what I'm going to get on each page. And yeah, that's just a fun surprise. So once again, love the tarot cards. I love that it's Persephone this time. So with this one, there are more themes of, say, transformation, mother-daughter relationships, death and rebirth, winter and spring. Still heavy on the feminism and healing from trauma, but I enjoyed it. I find it entertaining. The poems still do have that very Tumblr-esque style to them. So in that way, they're very easy to read, but I'm here more for the overall experience. It's the synergistic effect of this book. The total is worth more than the sum of its parts. But yeah, it was a fun time, and I enjoyed reading it. So let's go through all of the books that I read for this particular vlog. So we had The Moon Tear, which was an arc from NetGalley that I gave 2 stars. It was a high fantasy that was reminiscent of Lord of the Rings, but it just didn't hit for me. Then there was Morgoth, which is a graphic novel about a teenage goth changing schools, finding friends. I gave this a 4.75. I really liked the style. There was only one little plot point that I would have preferred not to have read about. Then we have The Holistic Guide to Gut Health, which is a non-fic about all of the non-pharmaceutical prescription treatments that you can use to sort of supplement or aid in the healing of certain conditions, and I gave that a 5 stars. Aphrodite Made Me Do It, and then also Persephone Made Me Do It. So this is part of a series by Tristan Mattia, poetry with feminist leanings about healing and love and womanhood, relationships, all that jazz with a real mixed media kind of format. Both of those I gave 4.5. The Summer of June, the cats are running, which is a middle grade book about a young girl who has anxiety and is learning to make friends and find her own inner lion. I'd probably give it a 4 star, but it's a book that I would recommend very cautiously to kids because of a lot of things in there could be quite triggering. And then we had Annihilation, which was a sort of eco thriller. Is that what you would call it? Which I gave a 3.25, about a bunch of scientists and such going into the forest and coming out changed or not coming back at all. So those were all of the books for this reading vlog. Until next time, stay wild, star child.